So let's arrive first. Sit well. Feel your feet connecting to the earth through your carpet and floor and the air between you and the actual dirt of the planet. Just reminding that the atmosphere is the earth also. So we are already in the earth, just bringing it front of mind to make that connection. And in Qigong, we always try to avoid getting pulled too far or too strongly downward by also connecting upward to heaven. You can visualize a beautiful silken cord extending up from your crown into the heavens. And to activate it further, just shorten it 1 inch and feel your spine become a little more spacious. And peruse gently your inner landscape. With your next inhale, gather up the thoughts and intentions and actions that may still be with you, that you use to arrive here and now. Inhale and gather them up. Exhale them out your feet back to the earth. Let's do that again. Inhale and gather. And exhale back to the earth. And with your next inhale, gather up anything that's tugging you into the future, away from the now. Plans, anticipations, worries. Inhale and gather them up. Exhale them off to the side. Don't force yourself to release things that are with you, that are sticking with you, but we can set them aside. One more time. Inhale and gather. Exhale off to the side. And just stay in your hopefully more spacious inner landscape, connected to the earth and the heavens for a few breaths. Good. So open your eyes. What I'd like to do tonight, and those of you who aren't in my usual classes, this is going to be an introduction to a monthly gathering, but I always promise myself to give you a good class also, even though I have some limitations because series build one after the other, but I think we can still do stuff. So I'd like to talk a little bit about Tao approach to dream practice. There are a lot: shamanic, Western, divination, psychoanalysis. And I think it's helpful to keep in mind some of the overarching ideas or viewpoints in Taoism. One is everything is interconnected. The life, the planet, the cosmos is like a web of life. It's not uh, divided up into discrete portions or people or organs. We do that as humans to make those things easier for us to understand. And, frankly, there's a big compromise in our understanding when we do that. And that guides me in my dream practice and how I share this dream practice. Tao practice is probably most famous as one of the two traditions that foster lucid dreaming. And I'll share one way to sort of conjure or begin to work with that tonight. Uh, Lucid dreaming is just being aware that you're dreaming when you're dreaming. So a lot of times they talk about waking up within the dream. And the Tibetan Buddhist practice is entirely focused on using your dream time to practice to become, or let's say to escape samsara better and quicker. The Taoist practice isn't so focused on escaping samsara or reaching enlightenment. It is, though, or it does value being alive in your dreams, living your life in your dreams as well as after your coffee, taking a walk, being in your physical body and your awake self. It's a little looser and frankly a little more fun because if you really embrace the Buddhist path, you should be practicing every moment of the day because you never know when you're going to die and you want to clear your karma to have a good death, a good rebirth, or not being reborn at all, escaping the cycle. Tao is a little more, I don't know, a little more relaxed, a little more lighthearted, even though they still live with limited life and wanting to escape the cycle of reincarnation to be integrated with the Tao. So this idea of integration, I usually slip in sooner or later that if you're a regular person sleeping a third of your day, by the time you're 60, you slept 20 years. That's a long time. You can think of like many, many Western, let's say, offhanded sources say that it's basically you're unconscious and you're, meaning you're not conscious, and your unconscious creates the dreams for who knows what reason. Probably depends on the psychology writer. In Taoism, there are different kinds of dreams. Well, before I go there, I want to show you a picture of one idea of who or what we are. So you look at the smallest internal circle, the conscious reasoning and ego mind. Thinking about this would be a percentage of us alive in a embodied life. And the unconscious, the dreaming subconscious, is so much larger than our conscious mind. So my teacher who taught me this said, why would you use your little conscious mind to understand and control such a large and beautiful dreaming conscious or subconscious? And then even larger than both of those put together is Jing Qi Shen, sort of just our whole awareness, our whole aliveness. And then even larger than that, the whitest area, we just refer to as larger than me because some things are better off not named. So this is another helpful picture, I think. If we kind of accept that larger than me, that aliveness or awareness is surrounding us, then we can look at various parts of ourselves. Consciousness being one, dreaming self another, unconscious, our DNA, our karma, and memory, and the intersection of all those things can be considered the me that I offhandedly refer to in conversation. So, a little more information, physical body experiences, emotions and moods and outlook, thoughts and beliefs, and your energy system as well. It's interesting. But for the practice, I want to suggest just one idea that this you that dreams can be your friend, wants to be your friend, and that you have this other liminal self that is ready and waiting and receptive to connecting with you. But I find it extremely helpful to try things I don't know or don't understand using things I know and do understand. So this liminal self is not a whole human being. I'm even referring to it as a liminal self for our understanding convenience. But we can take in how we would ideally treat our most beloved friend and apply that consideration, respect, love, openness, listening, patience, compassion to this part of ourself and cultivating the connection with that part of ourself. So we will learn something called a dream gesture, or I will suggest it and then leave it with you for you to experiment with and kind of hone and refine it. But I want to emphasize that pursuing lucid dreaming should be done as gently and self-awarely as you would pursue a friendship with a new person. So I tell a story. Years ago, I used to visit a discussion board about lucid dreaming, and I stopped going after reading the post from this young woman who was absolutely talented, but she would decide where she wanted to go every night. And then she would go to sleep and dream, and she would go to the pyramids, to the Nile, to the this, to the that. And I found it almost violent. Oppression of her dreaming self was using the lucidity that could have been an opening to creating this amazing, faceted relationship as a form of entertainment. And I think that sometimes, not always, probably not even the majority of the time, but it's so important not to go down that route, to decide, I want to be a lucid dreamer, and without asking yourself why, and then pushing toward that goal. Why not use pursuing lucid dreaming as being more sensitive and aware while cultivating this relationship with yourself or your other self, your liminal self? So that I say a lot. There's a reason they call these things Taoist arts and not, I don't know, Taoist machines or step by steps. Because in art, you have a tradition which is full of wisdom and you have steps of a practice. But after learning those beginning steps, clearly as a beginner, that's when you start bringing your sensibility, your wisdom into the practice. So, we're learning in the summer practice the 8 brocades, and that's old and very defined. But once someone learns the 8 brocades, then it's like, oh, this doesn't feel right. Oh, that feels great. You start playing. Always, I want everyone to always know what the tradition has given you, though. So you have that clarity and then you play. So, kinds of dreams. the three that were handed down that we are concerned with or interested in, one is an ordinary day dream, an ordinary day dream where we process what's happened recently, maybe not just 5 hours ago, but this week. That's when we go to work, we have conversations, good or bad, with friends, and they're essential. They really are essential to our sanity and the richness of our life. Then the second type of dream goes back further, and we may have people that we haven't seen in years show up. We may revisit conflicts or the opposite of conflicts, wonderful moments from our childhood or teen years. And for clarity, I just call them personal history dreams. Those are the ones that I think fascinated psychoanalysts the most. The ones that are probably rarest and that Tao is most concerned with, they call cloud dreams. And those are dreams that aren't identified by subject or length, but there's something about them. And the thought or the belief is that those dreams have come from elsewhere. We can say they come from the Tao, the sea of Tao life. They can come from a visitation, an ancestor visiting, or a spirit of place. So they can be pretty much anything, and it's just from your intuitive feeling that you know it's a cloud dream. Like one of my favorite cloud dreams is walking along a street with a friend, and I turned to look at her, and she turned to look at me, and that's all there was to the dream, but it was very special. It's just an energy to it or a charge. And I knew when I woke up, oh, that was something else. So understanding that we have all three of these, that all three of them are precious and necessary, and not trying to reach for those cloud dreams because they're the rarest, but being open. And there's a moment where we invite the dreams. You can certainly invite cloud dreams in that invitation, that moment right before you let everything go to go to sleep, fall asleep. And looking at my notes here for a second. So just a little bit more on goals and how I'm not crazy about them. So I mentioned lucid dreaming as a form of entertainment, but also having it as a goal. Goal-focused dreaming is, do you have goal-focused friendships? No, that's networking. That's not friendship. The other is, and I have deep respect for Robert Moss and his approach to soul retrieval through dreaming. And I think, at least for one meeting, I'll present that in, a summary of it. But if you only pursue soul retrieval, it's using your dreams to heal, using your dreams to heal the waking self. So would you do that with a friend? No, you would do that with a healing practitioner, teacher, but that's not friendship either. So tether your thinking, is this what I would do with a friend who meant so much to me? And then you'll usually have the wisdom to sort it out or do it with that friendship approach or attitude softness. So, a couple things that come up with dream practices: not remembering your dreams, having nightmares, not being able to sleep. Uh, well, those are three big ones, and I'm not going to solve all those in 90 minutes or 60 minutes. But this practice, I decided to teach Masahiro's morning and evening Qigong. And those of you who are in my Sunday class, it's a gathering of short qigong, so some of them you'll be familiar with, the inner smile, shaking, and so forth. But he brings them together as a practice of waking up, a practice of, I want to say shutting down, but kind of closing down the day, releasing the stress and closing down the day to shift to the dreaming time. I think it's simple, and I don't have any handouts for tonight, but I would certainly give the list, and then you could pick and choose also. You needn't do the whole thing. Like some Qigong is a cohesive set. These are like a buffet. And I think one of the tools, so there are many, but one of the tools we can use is the circulation of energy. And yeah, make sure I'm not over. So what we can do now is I'd like to stand up and we'll do the evening set. Some of that is standing, and then we sit, and you would, in your evening, you would lay down and do like inner smile and stuff. And just to give you an idea of the energetics and the breath and the movement that this simple Qigong can lend to your bedtime. And then we will what I would like to do is do the full 15-minute re-entering the dream. And before we do that, I will also talk about the ritualized dream sharing that we would do live. But dream sharing requires going into breakout rooms with 2 or 3 people, and we don't really have time to do both. And I think it's just a better fit to do the dream re-entering, which is also very precisely ritualized as well. So let's stand up and do the Qigong. Okay. So the set that Masahiro put together begins with an intuitive shaking, but because I may never see some of you again, I want to add on to that a practice that can really release stress. Intuitive shaking will do that, but this practice of the old man in the tide pool is really good at just dumping a less than ideal day energetically. And the Qigong has a little story, a lot of them do. There is an old man searching the tide pool for crustaceans to feed his family. And he looks down and he sees the biggest pearl he's ever seen. And he rejoices. He thinks, I will never have to deny my family anything for the rest of our lives. But he reaches for the pearl and it disappears because it's the reflection of the moon on the water. So we have the searching, and there's a sound and a breath with each movement. There's the rejoicing, and then there's the disappointment and kind of girding yourself to go on, girding itself to go on. So let me go through the 3 movements and you watch and then you can join in, but your face is going to be down, and this way you don't have to crane your neck. So stable position, bending over, The sound is S sound for the lungs. 3 times. Heart sound, ha, ha. And then a version of the spleen sound is ho. And I sink ho. Do that 3 times. Ha, ho, ha, ho. And repeat. Ha, ho, ha, ho, ha, ho. We'll do the sequence twice more. Ha, ho, ha, ho, ha, ho. Ha, ho, ha, ho, ha, ho. Pause, observe your body, observe your breath. And the shaking into stillness version of shaking is we begin shaking so subtly that it can't be discerned from outside of our body. So just the cells shake. But then maybe it's a little bigger and becomes a little visible and a little bigger and a little bigger. So incrementally bigger, larger, more visible shapes. And as you come to what you feel today would be the largest shake, stay with that. And then peruse, observe your body. Is there anywhere that would like to shake that's hanging back, or anywhere that's uncomfortable shaking? Then modify. If you're uncomfortable, make it smaller. If you want a little more, make it bigger. So, since we're using this shaking to dispel stress in the body, which can show up as tension, holding, let's add a little bigger movement when we're at our largest shake, and just send whatever is nice and loose, but you don't want it, to the earth. Back to shaking, loosening. One more time. Coming back to your shaking, pretty big. And now we're making the shake smaller and smaller until hard to see, until not visible from the outside. Good. So swallowing down our saliva. So saliva is our most accessible elixir. Let's do 4 times clockwise outside. So I mean, it's confusing to say. You're going to circle the tongue outside the teeth, 4 times clockwise, 4 times counterclockwise, and then in back of the teeth, same thing. 4 times clockwise, 4 times counterclockwise. You retain the saliva and then swallow it down 1/3 at a time, visualizing swallowing it all the way down to your belly, to your dantian. And so to further get rid of the day, relax, enjoy. The name for this is seaweed. So your feet are planted, but think of yourself. I think the seaweed is like kelp, like those ribbons of kelp being moved by the water. So move smoothly as if water is moving you. You can slow or make smaller the seaweed movement. We did this sitting, but let's do it standing. Feel yourself between heaven and earth. Feel the connection of your feet below. You can visualize that cord up into the heavens and then shorten it just an inch. You can even feel yourself hanging off the cord, relaxing further. And this, I think, is optional, but I think it's a good thing to do if you're interested in caring for your energy body. You reach up, he calls it catching the light. So we're activating the palms of our hands to hold sunlight. You can do this with moonlight also. Just activating our palms. And then we scan our body gently. So we're not looking for problems. We're just like looking. And this is, if you do this every night, maybe one time you'll feel a little something in your liver and you go, oh, okay, what's that? Doesn't mean there's something wrong, but it might mean that you have to eat a little less citrus fruit, a little less acidy stuff. But it's a way of getting to know, and I'm just moving. There is no set pattern. It's kind of like the way they prescribe breast exams, right? If you don't examine your breasts every month, you won't know what a lump feels like. We're not looking for lumps, but we're getting to know how our energy body feels. Can end at the dantian. And then we would lie down. We're going to sit down instead. When you're lying down, this can take anywhere from a couple minutes to 5 or 10 minutes. The inner smile is wonderful. We're going to do a basic version of it, but there are actually 3 different versions that if you did all 3 could take 10 minutes in itself. Main thing is you're hopefully more relaxed, you lay down, you go inside and you smile. It's actually can be used as another way to scan your body without worry or judgment. Excuse me. So begin by smiling into the crown of your head and visualize or experience that smiling energy as warm oil, honey, golden light. But at some point, your crown is overflowing. That smiling energy, loving attention flows down and fills your forehead and then flows into your eyes, eyeballs, your optic nerves, your eyelids. Smile. Smile into your nose and your sinuses and your sense of smell. Your cheeks, your lips, your teeth, your gums. Smile into your tongue, your jaw. Smile into your ears, your hearing, your balance. All this overflows downward, down your neck, spreads out over your shoulders. Smile into your shoulders. Flows down over your ribs into your heart and lungs. Smile. Smile into your waste organs, your liver, gallbladder, pancreas, spleen, stomach, and front. Around back to smile into your kidneys. Smile into this whole girdle of precious organs. And then down into your large intestine. Up on the right, over the top of your belly, and down on the left. Smile. And smile into your entire small intestine. Don't worry about the twists and turns. Just fill your belly with this beautiful honey, beautiful warm oil or golden light, whatever's inspiring you today. Smile into your reproductive organs and into your perineum. And feel that warm, loving energy flowing down your legs, down both the front and the back of your upper legs, into your knees, down the front and the back of your lower legs, into your ankles, and into your feet. Stay. As you're enjoying soaking up this inner smile, see yourself nestled in a chi. It's called a chi cradle. I also like the image of a chi hammock, but it's suspended from the stars. So we are safe and small and snug, but within the cosmos. Stay there. While here, we consciously acknowledge that we are going to enter the state of sleeping and dreaming, and we invite our dreams. You can also invite your dreaming self and rest. So let your eyes flutter open. And this video will be posted. So if you want to use that to help you fall asleep anytime, it's publicly posted. I recommend it as a start here, and you just slowly smooth down. But I want to cover a couple other things, and I made the decision not to do this at the end. I wanted to give you that practice, but we're going to do other things as well. One of the questions I mentioned was people wanting to remember more of their dreams. You're welcome. That bridge between sleeping and waking, yeah, we lose a lot of dreams there. There are things you can do, but I have found the most powerful thing I have done is through the cultivation of a friendship with my dreaming self. It's just like making a new friend, and then they bring you cake and they want to have, outings with you. You initiate the connection, and there is a response. Just like a human friend, it happens over time. You don't say, "Hi, can I be your best friend?" like we did in the first grade. It won't work after the first grade. However, one thing for sure that you probably already know is once you start moving, you lose dreams more often than not. So upon waking or upon realizing you're not asleep anymore and you remember a dream, before moving, describe it verbally out loud. Say, "Oh, I was in the kitchen and George was there and we had coffee, and then he had wings and he flew away." And because the dream, you have such a delicate connection to it, you're giving yourself the opportunity to remember the words you've spoken. And you may end up with just a collection of words, but also those words can act as a connection to the imagery and the dream itself. Other things you can do, which are a little trickier or maybe require skill building, is you can journal them right from bed. And if you wake up and it's dark, there are pens that have light, and we used to give those out in our dream classes, Masahiro and I. That doesn't work for me. And I start writing and it's gone. One thing that does work for me, though I wish that it wasn't technology, but is verbally recording. So having your phone set up with the recorder as the top application, opening your phone, you can even have your phone, well, it depends on how you feel about EM fields and stuff, but as little effort and movement as possible to get the recording app accessed and then speak into the recorder. that I've had some good luck with. And my phone uh, automatically gives me transcripts, secured. So then I would have them written down for me. So the other more extensive traditional way of working with remembering your dreams is to dedicate your sleep to them, your sleep life to them. The traditional instruction is to set an alarm at a certain time, like an hour or hour and 15 minutes before you would want to wake up for your day. Wake up. Maybe you remember a dream, maybe you don't, but then you go back to sleep, re-inviting the dreams and almost setting the intention. I want and I will remember the dreams I'm going to have now. And then you have your regular wake up time. It's very effective. And this has been done by Taoist dream practitioners for centuries. Note that you will be tired. You're interrupting your full night's sleep. So you're kind of sacrificing your vitality, or you can go to bed a lot earlier, but still that interruption takes a toll long term. Okay, so let's talk about the dream gesture. The idea is that you make a gesture when you're awake. And then when you are having a dream and you're thinking maybe you're dreaming, you make the gesture. And if you see the gesture, you are dreaming and it can trigger lucidity. My ninjutsu teacher, where I also got a lot of Qigong practices from, said in his dreams he finds his feet. So he looks down, and as if he can look down and see his feet, it triggers lucidity for him. For me, I realized that I never look down in my dreams. For me to cultivate the ability to look down and see my dreams in my feet would probably be a years-long process, and I'm not sure it would be that successful. So for me, I bring my hand up into my field of vision and I look at my palm. I think Masahiro's gesture was he would turn his head and look up. And that also didn't really work for me, but that's very effective for him. It can be anything very simple and gentle that you can do waking. So how you bring it into your dreams is by doing it over and over again in real life, and you ask yourself, am I dreaming? It's my right hand that I use. So I have been on the subway and am I dreaming? Don't know. Here, sitting here talking to you, am I dreaming? Not sure. Repeated throughout your days, throughout your weeks. And that makes it accessible while you're sleeping. You can, I guess, it might be nice to kind of modify it to acknowledge your dreaming self. I'm not sure how you would do that. You could say, hello, are you there? Are we dreaming? Might be interesting. So that is your takeaway homework is, to play with gestures and see what you like, because liking something is not necessarily frivolous. If you're liking it, it feels good, it seems like it might work, and you're connecting with it already. Main rule of thumb is simple. So it can't be, by the time you did that, you'd be awake or not, regardless of what you're dreaming about. So the last thing I want to do with you this evening is to have you re-enter the dream. So if anyone here has no dreams, then I would ask you to connect with a memory and do the same process with a memory. I'd say a significant one, but technically it needn't be. Re-entering the dream, and we will use a drum track, which I think is very helpful to, I was going to say regulate your energy, but it's almost like even it out. I will give you a couple of minutes to just sit and decide what dream you would like to do this with. And the process is very simple, but very, let's say, counterintuitive or counter habit. You remember the first moment of the dream. That's usually where you recognize where you are, whether it's a dreamscape or a place you've been, and you don't do anything else. You stay there. No, main thing is you don't move forward because dreams are only seconds long. They can feel like a whole film, but they're not. And at that first moment where you realize you're in a place, you take it in. Now, sometimes when you do this, you'll wake up. It's not your way to turn your head in the dream. It won't work for revisiting a dream. But basically, I would love for you to look at the sides and the corners, really take in the details of that first moment. And when that feels, okay, that was nice, then you go forward a tiny bit. What happened next? Oh, there's a dog. Pause. Be with the dog. It's more than observation. So you ask the dog, are you really a dog? Dog could say, no, I'm your cousin. Oh. And then depending on your relationship and the history with the cousin, questions might arise. But whoever arrives, for the first moment, you accept who they're presenting as, but always ask, are you really who I see here? Because that's when things can open up. And it's not that you're back in the dream and that's back in, interacting with the character in the dream. It's already here. You know that when you dreamt about the dog, it was your cousin, but daily life gets in the way. So a little step at a time. I'm going to give you 12 or 14 minutes. 15 minutes, I think, is the drum track. But the last few minutes, you're being called back. That's a long time. So if it was a short dream and you get through it, I would request that you go back and do it again. And if you still have time and you want to try another dream, absolutely, do as you like, but at least go through that dream twice. Any questions? And then after we come back, I'm going to give you a couple minutes to jot down anything that came up for you. It's one of my favorite practices. Quite beautiful. Okay, so, before we do that, I want to talk about dream sharing. So the series, the live classes, will have both re-entering the dream, perhaps re-entering, 2 sessions of re-entering the dream, depending. But then sharing the dreams, we will go into small breakout pairs. Sometimes we'll have 3 in a breakout room, depending on the odd or even. And there will be a sharer and a receiver. And really, the instructions are for the receiver. The receiver says nothing, can do like encouraging, nothing. Not, are you sure? Wow, that's amazing. Or, wow, no judgment, nothing until the person lets you know that she's finished. And you thank them for that share. If something did occur to you that you would like to share with the sharer, we always begin with, if that was my dream, I'd be curious, if that was my dream, and instead of, I'd think that was my mother, if that was my dream, I'd be curious about. So it's very respectful of the sharer. And the person who's sharing, you switch. So whoever shares receives. The only thing the person who shares needs to know is that it's a safe space and they shouldn't ask for the receiver to encourage them, to respect that the receiver is not going to say anything. And when we share dreams in regular life, even if it's with somebody who's fascinated by us, they usually feel awkward, and the person is trying to be nice, but they don't know what's in your head. You're filtering it through words, and there's questions, and oh my God, have you seen a therapist about that? Nothing like that happens. It's a sacred listening, I think. So, no time for both, so we're going to do the re-entering the dream. I want to ask, and you can chat to me directly, does anyone not have a dream to work with? And it can be a dream from when you were 2 years old or less. Okay, I'm not getting a chat, so I'm going to assume everyone has something they would like to work with. Okay, so turn my video off. Sit well. And if you are so inclined, you can give your dream a title and jot that down. And just sit with it for a minute or so. So come back to the room. And if you wish to write anything from that, giving you a couple minutes to do that. Okay, finishing up. So I did want to mention, as I've been talking about this series, uh, A was one, but 3 or 4 people have said how bad Wednesdays are for them. So I might send out a survey to see if there's interest if the day was moved. We'll see, but it doesn't matter to me. Right now, my Tuesday evenings every other week are I'm teaching something else, but otherwise I'm very flexible. Okay, so thank you so much for coming and spending your evening with me. And look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Miranda.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.